He's always talking about these scary things. But look at these companions. These are those companions of Prophet ﷺ. He said, my companions are like stars. You follow any one of them, you will be guided. So these are the companions. Our aqidah, our belief is that all of these companions of the Prophet ﷺ will enter the gardens of paradise. Yet look at the way these companions are living their lives. And Sayyidina Ka'b radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he was talking to the Ameer-e-Mu'mineen, and he says, Ya Ameer-e-Mu'mineen, death is like a stick with thorns. It's like a stick with thorns coming out from it. And if it is put inside the stomach of a person, and the thorn is pierced through each vein, and then a strong person was to pull it out with all his power, the thorn will cut each vein when it comes out and leave those which are not entangled in it. Have you ever seen some wool, a big wool? Try to put a stick inside that, a stick with thorns coming out. Now when you put that stick inside that great wool, and then you pull it out, what happens? You will get some little threads of wool stuck onto the thorns. Hazrat Sayyidina Ka'b al-Ahbar says, exactly this is what death is like. And I'm going to mention what happens when a person is dying. What happens to him? What state a person is in. It says that Hazrat Sayyidina Abdullah bin Umar bin As radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he says, my father used to say, I am surprised on that person who is near his death, but yet he doesn't tell us what happens at the time of death. Now remember, my dear Islam brothers, what happens at the time of death? When you go to hospital, majority of the time you see when people are critically ill in hospital, and they are dying on their deathbed, and sometimes the doctor will come out and will say, we can't save him. He's only got a few moments. And then you see that person with the mask on his head and he's asleep. We think that he is sleeping peacefully. What really happens? Listen. It says that Hazrat Sayyidina Umar bin As radiallahu ta'ala anhu, when his father was critically ill, he went to his father and he says, my father, do you remember saying that I feel so, that when a person is about to die, I don't know why people don't tell us what happens. Oh father, do you remember saying them words? And his father, he would say, my son, I can't remember them words. And let me tell you, he replied, I swear in the name of Allah Azza wa Jal, it feels like a mountain has been placed on my shoulders. That is the pain. That is the pain a person is going through when he is about to die. I can feel a mountain has been placed on my shoulders, and my soul is taken through the needle hole, and a stick with thorns is put into my stomach, and it feels like the earth and the sky have been put together, and I am in the middle. Islamic brothers, imagine that time is going to come. We are all going to come to that stage when we shall be feeling like he did. And let's talk about, these are pious people. Remember, these are not people who are sinners. These were pious people we're talking about. What will happen to us sinners? If these pious people are going through such pains, me and you, who don't even have any sins with us, what is going to happen? We have any good deeds with us, what is going to happen to us? It says in Tafsir al-Qurtubi that people from Bani Israel went to the blessed tomb of Sayyidina Sam bin Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam, the son of Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam. They went to his grave and they asked the Prophet of Allah, Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, to make dua, so that the person who is buried inside the grave, he comes back to life again, and he tells us about death. Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, he offered 2 rakat nafal, and then he made a dua in the court of Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah Azza wa Jal accepted the dua of Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, and Sayyidina Sam bin Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam, he came back to life. He stood up in front of Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. Remember, this was one of the greatest miracles of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, that he could bring people back to life again. The miracles of Isa ﷺ are mentioned in the Quran. وَأُبْرِئُ الْأَكْمَهَ وَالْأَبْرَصَ وَأُحْيِي الْمَوْتَى بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. That I could bring people back to life with the permission of Allah. بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. And Sayyidina Sam bin Nuh ﷺ, he stood up in front of Isa ﷺ. And Sayyidina Isa ﷺ, he noticed that Sayyidina Sam bin Nuh ﷺ's beard was white. And his hair was white as well. And he said to him, "O Sam, how come that your beard and your hair is white when these were not at your time?" At the time of Sayyidina Adam ﷺ and at the time of Sayyidina Nuh ﷺ, people did not grow old. Meaning when they grew old, their hair would turn white. Just like in the early days, at the time of Sayyidina Adam, food, it would not go off. You can keep food as for many years you want, it will never go off. That happened with Bani Israel. They did not trust in Allah and food started going off. So Sayyidina Sam ﷺ, his beard and his hair was white. And what did he say? He said that when I heard the call, I thought that the day of judgment has come. And because of its fear, the hair on my head and my beard turned white. Sayyidina Isa ﷺ, he asked, "How long have you passed from this world?" He ﷺ replied, "I have passed away from this world 400 years ago. And after 400 years ago, I can still taste the sourness of death." 400 years ago, but I can still taste death, which happened 400 years ago. Imagine, my dear Islamic brothers, we don't want to think about these kind of things. And these are things which are a reality. These are the things which me and you cannot run away from. These are the things, even though we are scared talking about them, these things will happen to us. These are the kind of, my dear Islamic brothers, times which we never talk about. But these times are a truth. This time is haq. Everyone will be going through them. My dear Islamic brothers, imagine at that time when a person is going through the pains of death. Even in this world, at this moment of time, if someone has a headache or he's got a high temperature, he doesn't want to talk to anyone. Me and you, we've all been through that. When you are ill, you've got a cracking headache, you've got a very, very high temperature. Even if it's your mother or your father or your best friend, you just don't want to talk to them. You just want to say, "Leave me alone. Just leave me alone and let me rest for a while." Imagine at that time, when a person is going through the pains of death, and then who will come? Inna shaytana lil-insani aduwwun mubin. The shaitan is your open enemy. He's not going to leave you. He's not going to say, "It's okay, I failed." The shaitan is going to try his best even at that time. Even at that time, the shaitan, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, he says that the shaitan will come in the form of your mother. He will come in the form of your father. He will come in the form of your friends. He will come in the form of all those people who you loved in this world. And the shaitan, at this moment of time, he's going to try to take your iman away from you. Imagine what's going to happen to us at that time. Imagine the shaitan in the form of your mother. And he will say, "My son, look at me. I am your mother. I looked after you. I was the one who brought you to this world. I am the one who looked after you. My son, I am telling you, Islam is not a true religion. Leave Islam and accept such and such a religion." At that time, what decision will you make? At that time, my dear Islam brothers, if our iman is weak, it all depends on your iman, how strong you are in your belief. At that time, if your iman is weak, probably we might say, "Yeah, she's my mother, she knows more, she knows better." So a person, he will accept the religion of the shaitan. Imagine, do we want the shaitan to be there at the time of our death? My dear Islam brothers, once the Prophet ﷺ, he saw the shaitan with a glass of water in his hand. And the Prophet ﷺ, he says, "O shaitan, O Iblis, what do you do with this glass of water?" And the Iblis, the shaitan, he says, "I exchange this glass of water with a Muslim's iman." Because a person is so thirsty. The books of hadith, they say,